In early April 2025, the U.S. government announced sweeping new tariffs. Most imports now face at least a 10% levy, with some goods, Chinese exports, autos, steel, and aluminum, hit by rates up to 25 to 145%, marking the highest average effective tariff rate since 1909. Economic modeling shows these policies alone raise overall consumer prices by 1.3%, equivalent to a $2,100 annual household hit. And, when combined with all 2025 tariff actions, lift prices by 2.3%, about 3,800 per household in the short run. Side turn 3 views the movement. Food-specific burdens are even steeper. Groceries rise 1.6% from the April 2nd tariffs and 2.8% from all 2025 measures, with fresh produce up 2.2 and 4.0% respectively, cite to rule. These added costs come on top of already elevated food-at-home inflation, 1.2% in 2024, cite Turn Views the World, and they translate into real pain at the supermarket. 73% of Americans now expect a price surge under these tariffs, cite Earn Search 4, and U.S. consumer sentiment has declined for 4 straight months amid tariff worries, cite Turn Search 0. Low-income households feel the pinch most. The April 2nd policy alone costs bottom decile families about $980 per year, 2.6 times the burden share of top decile households, versus $4,600 for the wealthiest, say in 3 view more. How tariffs translate into higher grocery bills. Tariffs act like a tax on imported inputs. When a 10% levy is imposed, importers typically pass on about 8% of that cost to consumers, and higher rates translate almost dollar for dollar into shelf price hikes. Cite Turn 1 View 0 will. For example, seafood, fish, shrimp, largely comes from Asia and Latin America. Tariffs of 20 to 50% at the port can mean double-digit price increases at grocery stores, cite Turn 1 View 0. Coffee and bananas, which cannot be grown domestically at scale, will cost shoppers more and be offered in fewer varieties. Avocados, tomatoes, and berries from Mexico face similar import levies, further squeezing popular produce items in Sanview 0. Even packaging materials have jumped. A 20% tariff on imported packaging forced Houston dessert shops to absorb or pass on extra costs, threatening small business margins and discounts, cite Turn News 37. Aggregate and category-specific price effects. The Yale Budget Lab finds 1.6% rise in overall food prices from the April 2nd action alone, about the same as a full year's grocery inflation in CPI terms. 90.8% rise when all 2025 tariffs and retaliatory measures are included. Cider 3 View 0. Fresh produce up 2.2%, April 2nd only, and 4.0%, all tariffs. Cite Turn 3 View 0. By comparison, retail food at home prices rose just 1.2% from 2023 to 2024. In the absence of these new measures, consumer sentiment and behavioral responses. 73% of Americans anticipate higher prices under the new tariffs. U.S. consumer sentiment fell for a 4th month in April, with tariffs cited as a key drag on confidence. Citurn Search Geo. Some consumers are stockpiling non-perishables in anticipation of further price spikes, reminiscent of pandemic-era buying frenzies. A Gallup CBS poll finds nearly 90% expect tariffs to raise prices and net cost the economy more than they generate. Cite Turn Search 5. Economic impact on U.S. households. Tariffs act regressively, hitting lower-income families hardest as a share of income. The Budget Lab estimates April 2nd tariffs cost the average household $2,100 annually, but just $980 for bottom decile earners versus $4,600 for top decile. Holtman Zugworld. All 2025 tariffs raise prices $3,800 per household on average, with $1,700 for bottom decile and $8,100 for top decile families. Cite Turn 3 View. Meanwhile, food spending already consumes 11.2% of disposable income, upwards of 32.6% for the poorest households, so any tariff-driven price jump tightens budgets further. View World. Policy background. Section 232 and beyond. Key tariff actions in 2025 include 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, Section 232, Site Turns Review Zero, which also feed into higher packaging and equipment costs. 20 to 25% tariffs on Chinese, Mexican, and other imports, Section 301 and April 2nd proclamation. Retaliatory levies by trading partners, stacking further cost burdens onto U.S. consumers and exporters. Site Turns Review Zero. These measures aim to bolster domestic industry but carry clear trade-off: higher consumer prices and slower GDP growth, 0.5 to 0.9 pp lower in 2025. Site Turn 330. Related topics and mitigation strategies. Supply chain adjustments. Some importers may shift to alternative suppliers or countries not subject to tariffs, but limited capacity can constrain that response. Domestic production incentives. Higher import costs may encourage U.S. growers and processors to expand output, but agricultural cycles mean benefits arrive slowly. Policy debates. Proposals range from targeted relief, e.g., exemptions for staple foods, to rolling back broad tariffs. Congress and stakeholders continue to negotiate. Consumer coping. Households may switch to lower cost substitutes or reduce variety, but nutritional and cultural preferences limit how much substitution is feasible. Conclusion. Tariffs enacted in 2025 have already pushed grocery prices 1.6 to 2.8% higher, on top of baseline inflation, imposing hundreds of dollars in extra costs per household annually and hitting low-income families most sharply. By raising costs on seafood, produce, coffee, packaging, and more, they alter shopping choices and strain consumer confidence. While aimed at protecting U.S. industry, these levies carry significant trade-offs: inflationary pressure, regressive impacts, and slower economic growth that underscore the complex balance between trade policy and everyday living costs.